What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As I sat and I was doing this research, I really felt defeated once I started to peel the onion back and look at these numbers as far as where the military was when I first came in and where it is now. The quality that it was in when I first joined in 2003 to the quality it is now. And in this video, I just want to share a couple of things with you as far as what I saw while I was in the service that is, in my opinion, leading the downfall of the United States military. If this is your first time watching me, my name is Jay. I'm a retired Green Beret out of 3rd Special Forces Group. The intent behind this channel is to share my knowledge and wisdom with the next generation. So if you get any value out of this, give it a thumbs up, share the video, and also subscribe. With all that said, let's get into today's video. Today's video is going to be why the state of the military is so shitty compared to how it was when I first came in 2003. Everywhere you look, you'll see articles discussing the recruiting crisis that the military is currently going through. Last year, guys, the only branch that was able to meet its recruiting goals were the Marine Corps. Army missed it, Navy missed it, Air Force missed it, Space Force. Everybody is missing their recruitment goals. And to this date, the military is the smallest that it's ever been ever since the all-volunteer force started. We're sitting at approximately 1.3 million across all the separate branches. In comparison to our adversaries, China is at 2 million and Russia is at approximately 1 million. Our technology, to be honest with you, is what's keeping us afloat. The military has become sort of like a playground for politicians and also leaders that are trying to climb to the next level. What do I mean by that? If you look at the military as a whole, since I came in 2003, there's been a shit ton of policies that has been implemented, which has led to its slow but methodical downfall. As you and I speak, guys, retention rate in the military is at its lowest. Guys are getting out by the numbers. And a lot of folks will say, well, that's because there's no war going on. That's not the case at all. Also, if you look at recruitment, that's also at its all-time low. Now, in talking about these two separate issues, guys, I'm going to attack the topic from two separate angles. First, I'm going to talk about recruiting, what's causing these young men and women from not enlisting in the military to begin with. Then we're going to discuss retention and the bad policies that have been put in place that are causing current soldiers, airmen, Marines, and sailors to leave the military at such a high rate. Let's first discuss recruitment. So why is the military having such a hard time recruiting? According to all the research that I've done, there is a plethora of reasons why new recruits are choosing to go elsewhere instead of joining the military. The number one cause, guys, is that former veterans like myself and others who have served are deterring family members and friends from joining. Now think about it. If you're a young man and you're trying to join the military and you find your closest relative, whether it's your dad, your uncle, your sister, whoever, and you ask them for feedback, hey, should I join the military? And they sit you down and they say, no, this is why. Think about it. What are you going to do? You're going to listen to their words and their advice, and you're not going to join if they tell you not to. Now, this is happening more and more because veterans are starting to see that they are just a pawn in the bigger scheme of things. Now, I'm not saying that's how I see it. I'm just telling you what the research is showing. When you look at conflicts like Iraq, Afghanistan, conflicts we've been involved in within the last 20 years, and you look at the outcome, a case could be made that, hey, soldiers were used as pawns to go into these countries with no end state in mind. An argument could be made that, hey, in regards to Afghanistan in 2001, the war should have ended there and not be dragged on for 20 plus years. More and more folks are making that argument, and they're sharing their thoughts to their loved ones, and that's deterring them from actually joining. So that's one of the reasons. Another reason is that 77% of the youth nowadays do not meet the basic standards to join the military. Now I'm talking about fitness. I'm talking about the exam, the ASVAB that they have to take. I'm talking about the criminal background, guys. Our youth are getting fatter, dumber, and they're getting high as shit on drugs to where they can't even meet the basic requirements to join the military. That's also another reason. So what do we do as a military? Do we drop the standard? Or do we just let the numbers go away? I read an article not too long ago that said that weed is no longer a disqualifier for recruits at MEPS. Meaning if you go down there and you take your piss test and you fail for whatever reason, that's not going to disqualify you from joining. That's a new policy to help combat the fact that weed is becoming more and more legal and more of our youth are doing it, which is then keeping them from joining the military. So as a military, we're like, hey, check it out, man. It is what it is. Remove that standard so we can have more people come in to where we are not left with a military with no personnel in it. If you have any thoughts and you want to share with the audience as far as why recruitment is so low and it's only getting worse, leave it in the comment section below, guys. Now let's move on to the retention aspect of this. If recruiting is so shitty, wouldn't you as a military leader want to do whatever you can to maintain the actual men that you have within your formation, since you can't bring a new one? When I was a leader, that was my plan. I did everything that I could to make sure that the environment that I created was suitable for the men and women that work under me. But not all leaders are created equal, guys. In the past 20 plus years, there's been a plethora of policies that have been implemented, which has led to many individuals leaving the military. Some of these policies, although they're right and they should be implemented, a lot of leaders didn't look at the blowback that was going to come from it. The first policy that I want to talk about is the women going into combat, which went into effect in 2013. Now, I've said on this channel before, if my daughter wants to go be a Green Beret, join the Army, I'm not going to tell her not to. I'm just going to lay out the facts and expectations for her. And if she still decides to go forward, then that's on her. Ever since that policy went into effect in 2013, women in combat roles have increased dramatically, which is a good thing. But guess what has also increased, guys? Sexual harassment complaints. Now, I know when I did my video not too long ago about women in special forces, I got a bunch of comments saying that, hey, guys should be professional. They shouldn't do this. They shouldn't do that. Check it out, man. Welcome to the real world. Guys are going to be guys, especially when they're between the age of 18 or 21. What do you think is going to happen? Now, whether it's right or wrong is irrelevant. What we are doing as policy writers, as military leaders, is we're putting these young men in a situation where they are going to fail. And how do we know that they're going to fail? Because the research shows it, guys. Go to Google and look up the statistics for the amount of sexual assault related charges in the military from 2013 to 2018. They've doubled, guys, from approximately 3,000 to past 7,000. That's where we are right now. Another policy that has affected the military is the sex realignment surgery / policy. If you're not familiar with that policy, guys, it came out in approximately 2017, stating that if I am a man and I want to identify as a woman, I could then petition with the Pentagon to get money to go have surgery and to get psych help and whatever else I need to make me feel like that, right? So that went into effect in 2017, and since then approximately $15 million plus have been spent on soldiers, helping them get to that end state, guys. Now just imagine if you are in a unit as a dude, you're running and gunning, you're living your best life as a 21-year-old, and now you have to deal with that, right? Whether it's right or wrong, I'm not here to say. I'm just telling you the effect that it's having on our military and our recruitment recruitment/retention crisis. Another policy, back in 2018, General Jim Mattis came out with the anti-bullying policy, stating that if you bully anybody within the military, within your ranks, you're going to face harsh punishment. Now, I can tell you right now, man, I remember as a private getting to my first unit, that was the norm. It was expected. As a SF guy, going to my team as a brand new guy, that's the norm. It was expected. It's meant to toughen you up mentally and physically. And you're telling me now that I get a brand new soldier, it's all kumbaya, we're doing yoga, we're woosahing as if they're not going to go to war and face harsh shit in combat? All these policies have done great harm to units within the military. Now that we're not running and gunning and we're not deploying like we used to, why would a guy want to stick around and deal with all this additional stipulations to where they feel like they're walking on eggshells, and if they do something wrong, they're getting the book thrown at them? And as a leader, knowing that if you don't reinforce these policies, your career is going to end, guess what officers are doing? They're crushing dudes because they're lifers and they want to make it to general or whatever. So if anybody steps out of line, they're crushing them. To where guys are going to jail by the numbers, guys are getting kicked out by the numbers. So a lot of folks, instead of walking on eggshell, not knowing if they're going to be next, they're just choosing to get out and not having to deal with it. And not only are they getting out, once they get out, they're not telling their friends their experience, and that's keeping their friends from joining, which is then leading into the recruitment crisis that we currently have. So how do we fix this, guys? Because what I don't want is for me to be 45 and I'm having to sign back up to go back in the military because we don't have the necessary personnel to go fight whatever war that we're gonna, find ourselves involved in. So how do we fix it? Leaders need to be better and policymakers need to stay the hell out of the military. Guys, if you have anything to share, leave it in the comment section below. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.